Barbara Kruger, before being a well-known artist, she worked as a graphic designer for Condé Nast magazine. This helps us understand her bold statements and using phrases in unique fonts in black and white over the photograph. She went to Parsons School of Design, where she studied under a photographer, Dion Arbus. This can be seen as where some of her inspiration and influence came to her photographs, with interesting ideas of identity. Barbara Kruger grew up in post-war America while the television was just made with advertisements. Being shown this further gave her a view on capitalism. She does not label her work as feminist art, but she identifies as a feminist and addresses a lot of gender roles issues. Barbara Kruger's work strictly comes from her childhood and background to make her work powerful. Barbara Kruger was born while working at Condé Nast Publications. Barbara Kruger developed an interest in poetry and the use of words as tools. She initially made wall art using unconventional materials before transitioning to collage works after becoming dissatisfied with it. Her collage works addressed and critiqued social topics such as consumerism, abortion laws, politics, and sexism, conveying her critiques through her iconic, bold, advertisement-stylized designs. Through her art, Kruger urges people to break free from the control of mass media and question who they follow.
Piece Untitled, also known as How Come Only the Unborn Have the Right to Life. Barbara Kruger utilizes linguistic and visual techniques to convey criticisms of the anti-abortion, pro-life movement. For further contextualization, this piece was produced amidst major social debates regarding the legality and ethics of abortion. A near outcome of said debate was the Human Life Amendment to the Constitution, which defined the start of life as occurring at conception. Moving on to the artwork. Untitled is a mixed media work made up of a photograph and type on paper. The image itself is in Kruger's signature black and white style, and its background consists of a close-up photograph of a woman staring straight at the viewer. Although the woman appears to be smiling, the image itself stands askew as a result of a Dutch angle, indicating the presence of an issue. Numerous rays emanate from the eye on the right, guiding viewers until they eventually stare right back at the woman. This places viewers and the woman on equal ground, while also having the advertising trait of stopping viewers in their tracks so that Kruger may present her case. The eye evokes a sense of unity in the search of truth, as what we see is often what we believe. Placed over the woman's nose are the words, "How come only the unborn have the right to life?" The central position of the words, framed by the woman's paralyzing gaze, creates tension as Kruger presents a rhetorical question to her audience, forcing them to question the hypocrisy of trading the safety and life of a woman for an already undesired child. This refers to the pro-life reasoning that all pregnancies be carried to term without abortion. In other words, granting fetuses undeniable protection over their lives. This is problematic as abortions are necessary to terminate pregnancies that would otherwise harm or kill the woman carrying the fetus, essentially depriving women of their own right to life. To add further emphasis, the largest words present in the middle of the box are unborn and life. The emphasis on these two words serves to juxtapose the concepts they represent, asserting that unborn does not equal life. When put together, the ironic and contradictory phrase, unborn life, reveals the illogical reasoning behind anti-abortion. At the top of the image sits another text box that asks, woman or incubator? Kruger asks us to imagine how dehumanizing it would be to be denied an abortion, at which point it would seem that the sole purpose of a woman is to protect and birth the fetus, much like an incubator's sole purpose is to protect the baby. At the bottom lies a statement, celebrate the fetus and starve the child. It implies that after actually being born, the life of the baby loses its value and the protection given to it leading up to birth, becoming subject to neglect, abuse, and poverty. This fact also brings to light the issues of overpopulation and world hunger, as abortions can be used to manage birth rates and reduce mouths to feed in developing countries experiencing food shortages. Ultimately, Kruger's Untitled, aka How Come Only the Unborn Have the Right to Life, shines a spotlight on the flawed logic of anti-abortion, while leading viewers to the conclusion that abortion is a tool to protect the safety and dignity of pregnant women. Through these statements, Kruger reveals the shallow nature and issues of the pro-life movement, and that all the focus is placed on bringing about a successful birth, while no consideration is left for neither the mother nor the fetus after birth. This untitled piece, also known as We Don't Need Another Hero by Barbara Kruger. Textual implications are used to challenge the gender roles promoted by the accompanying image. In the photograph, Kruger combines a monochromatic 50s-style image with bold text to illustrate her criticism of the societal systems involving gender roles, especially the habit of imposing gender roles at a young age. In the image, a young boy flexes his arm for the girl behind him while looking at her over his shoulder expectantly. The girl, with raised eyebrows and an open mouth, points at the boy's biceps, seemingly amazed. In this depiction, the boy represents the societal pressure for males to project leadership and masculinity in order to all females and transform them into followers to gain power. It can be inferred that the boy has been taught to project his masculinity to assert dominance from a young age, while the girl is left to be controlled by it. With the addition of the text being fashioned by Kruger to act as the girl's spoken dialogue, the action of the girl changes from gawking to reprimand. She singles out the boy's pride and implies that this occurrence is all too common. The heroes that the text refers to are males seeking social power through dominance and masculinity. As such, Kruger alters the photograph to stand as a message to discourage the propagation of gender roles such as the heroic male and the follower female.
We have received Orders Not to Move by Barbara Kruger, made in 1982, using black and white bold text with an image of a woman leaning with pins on her back, displayed in a black and white contrast. Using the black and white contrast, this technique emphasizes the pins on the woman's back that signify the restrictions and oppression that women face in society. The text is in a bigger font from the rest of the phrase, showing what Barbara Kruger really wants to highlight: the limitations that women have and still have today. Your Body is a Battleground, released in 1989 by Barbara Kruger, was a piece created for a march about reproductive freedom and to support abortion rights and birth control as rejection against Roe v. Wade. This art piece uses distortion, black and white contrast, and bold visuals with red bars and white Futura text that mimic advertising to capture viewers' attention and create a strong political image. The artwork depicts a woman's face directly in the middle of the canvas with two sides, one normal and the other distorted with high contrast, which symbolizes the issue and division of women's rights, reproductive rights, as well as societal norms that come with it. The photograph addresses the viewer in the words "with your," personalizing how women's body had become a place of political topics and debates. Originally, this piece was a pamphlet for abortion rights, with "Your Body is a Battleground" as a statement for people to question women and reproductive rights.
In the piece, Not Angry Enough, titled Untitled, it was created in 1997. The piece, with multiple not enough statements, including numb, white, angry, dumb, dead, etc., challenged multiple different stereotypes and society expectations and images related with race, identity, and emotion. As seen in the other piece of hers, You Are Not Yourself, she's directly speaking to the audience and addressing society's representation of us. She's addressing the viewer to question their own position and beliefs. The elements of art include line, shape, color, value, space, contrast, emphasis, and balance, as well as variety, showing multiple different problems and expectations. Our interpretation, the piece is directly speaking to societal norms and expectations, trying to break free of all of it. It speaks about how people are supposed to act and how they're supposed to be, wanting to control us, wanting total power. Speaking on empowerment, the global issue explores multiple issues, mainly racism, using a colored man to speak on the issue, as well as stereotypes and expectations. In the piece, You Are Not Yourself, titled You Are Not Yourself, created 1981 to 1983. The image is a feminist sparking discussion, specifically addressing the identities of women within society. Kruger created this piece during a period of time where she was critiquing the power dynamics in mass media and consumerism, using personal direct language to address the viewer, such as "you." The piece is driven to directly affect the stereotypes and representations of women to make a change. It is a direct tone to address the problem and the viewer. The elements of art include using elements such as line, shape, and color, monochromatic, as well as high contrast, emphasis, and direct language to influence the viewer. We've seen this in the other piece as well. Our interpretation, Kruger is communicating the ideas of the identities of women, including gender roles, stereotypes, and society expectations, societal. She communicates how women are generally viewed as broken or fragmented with a broken glass. showing how society viewing someone or something as something, or some, sorry about that, showing how society viewing someone a certain way as something can possibly break their self-image. Global issues include gender and identity, the misrepresentation and image of it.
This first artwork, untitled The Future Belongs to Those Who Can See It, from 1997 by Barbara Kruger, presents a more intimate and focused composition. It features a monochrome photographic image of a person's face, overlaid with a bold red text that reads, "The future belongs to those who can see it." The contrast between the grayscale image and the bright red text immediately draws attention to the message. The use of photography introduces a sense of realism and vulnerability. The figure appears passive, possibly lying down, which may suggest a lack of control or awareness. This creates a feeling that the subject is disconnected or unaware of their surroundings. However, the text interrupts this stillness. The phrase "can see" is central to the meaning of work. It can be interpreted as more than just physical sight. It could also suggest awareness, understanding, and critical thinking. Kruger implies that those who are able to recognize and understand societal structures are the ones who can shape their future. The fragmented layout of the text also plays an important role. The words are placed in separate blocks, forcing us, the viewer, to read them step by step. This slows down the viewing process and requires active engagement, reinforcing the idea that seeing or understanding takes effort. The use of red text over the image creates a sense of urgency and importance. It highlights the message and ensures that it stands out against the more subdued background. This visual technique emphasizes the significance of awareness in determining one's future. The second artwork, by Barbara Kruger, displayed at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, immediately captures attention through its bold use of red, white, and blue, along with large capitalized text. The scale of the piece is significant since it stretches across an entire wall, making it unavoidable for the viewer. This physical dominance mirrors the theme of power and authority, which is central to the work. The text consists of a series of rhetorical questions such as who is beyond the law, who is free to choose, and who follows orders. These questions directly engage the viewer, forcing them to reflect on their own position within systems of power. Rather than giving answers, Kruger leaves the question open-ended, which creates discomfort and encourages critical thinking. The repetition of who emphasizes division in society, suggesting that different groups experience power, freedom, and control in unequal ways. Additionally, the use of bold text and high contrast colors is typical of Kruger's style, often associated with advertising. By mimicking advertising techniques, she critiques how media and institutions influence people's beliefs and reinforce power structures. This technique makes the message feel urgent and confrontational, almost like public demand for accountability. The global issue explored in these artworks by Barbara Kruger is the unequal distribution of power in society and how it affects people's ability to make choices and shape their future. Through direct language and striking visuals, the work highlights how some individuals or groups have control and authority, while others are limited or excluded. This issue is relevant on a global scale as systems of power continue to influence freedom, opportunity, and awareness in different societies.